Well, I hope you guys can hear me loud and clear. We actually already have somebody calling in. I believe her name was Crystal. So this is going to be a new format we're going to play with every now and again. Basically, what we're going to do is just going to pull some topics. You guys can call out a topic. We can talk about anything anybody wants to talk about at any given time. We'll just kind of let the conversation come organically. But let me go ahead and bring Crystal on. Hello, Crystal. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, you are live. What's going on? What can we do for you?
I just wanted to call in about some stuff I've been thinking about, especially because it made me think about it after your show about maybe it was especially because depending on which picture or video they show you, he looks a little bit changes. And so I was thinking that maybe it's just him. And he keeps on lying, but something that I've noticed is that each time he has a little more involvement in the crime. Like, at first it's just he talked to Libby, but then he blocked her because, she was annoying. And then he was supposed to meet her, but then she never showed up. And then he and his father couldn't have been involved because they were together the whole day. And then he starts to hint that his father may have been, may have done it. And then he was in the bridge at the car, at the bridge, but like he's in the car when his father did it. And then, he helped, but it was only after they were killed. And, oh, well, I might know where a murder weapon is, and I might know where the clothes were burnt. And it's like, man, you know a lot, dude, for you not to have done this. And then also, I think the voice sounds like him, and the Murder She Did interview. I think it, and then the Murder She Did interviews with the stepbrother, and he thought it sounded like him, but he thought the person on the bridge looked more like Tony. And then there was another girl that he catfished, and he had her go to a park.
Kayla.
And it was Keegan Kayla, yes. I forgot her name, but yeah. And it was Keegan who showed up. And then the other thing too was, remember the FBI said that like it's very likely that this person will try to change appearance. And Keegan gained a massive amount of weight after the murders. Like he was not as big. Like he was big, he was bigger, but like he was not like as big. And he also grew facial hair. And then also like as someone who struggles with like eating and weight, I gained a lot of weight after like a bad car accident and there's pain and stuff. Like I know that like you can use food as a coping mechanism with stress. And I would think it would be stressful if you murdered 2 children and you didn't know if the police would just show up at your house at any time and catch you. So that could be another cause of like why he's gained so much weight and like his appearance has changed. And then it looks like too that like it's interesting that he went to Vegas immediately, and he has this, he has this DSM problem, and then he searched for things, and he's looking at stuff about the Delphi murders, and so that might also be one of the reasons why Doug Carter says he knows he's watching, because he knows that he's looking up stuff about and
he wants to
staying on
know
top of this case.
He wants to know what they know.
Right. And then and then people, we know a lot of, I know like a lot of people who are probably listening who know a lot about this case, but so I'm not gonna like keep going through the stuff, but like he just has so much stuff connected to this case, and maybe ISP has a whole bunch of stuff on Tony's line that we don't know about, but I just think everything seems to point to him. And then about that one piece of evidence that they're missing, the most obvious thing that I think that is something that proves that it's either Keegan or Tony. And because otherwise, if you bring up Tony on charges or you bring up Keegan on charges, what's going to happen is you're just going to have a defense lawyer's dream. Is that you have another person you can pick, you can point to, and say, "Oh yeah, Keegan didn't do it. His father did it." Tony's father has a record against, stalking children, abusing children, being physically violent towards children, being physically violent towards, his wife, and he too, was like, had a CSM problem, and we think that two people were using this account, so it could have also been him. And they probably know this because the police will work closely with the prosecutor who will say, you know what, that's not enough evidence. You need to go back and get more. Otherwise, they're just going to, if you bring up Keegan Klein on trial, they're just going to point to Tony Klein, and that's going to be a reasonable doubt. Or if you bring up Tony Klein, they're going to point to Keegan and say, oh, but he was the one who made the account. He's the one who admitted that he was the last person to talk to her. He's the one who's got all these CSM charges. He's the one who's been like searching up, making these searches, while he's been away. And then, either of them can walk. And so I think that that's that one piece of evidence that they need, is the piece of evidence that shows it was Tony Klein and not Keegan, or it was Keegan Klein, not Tony, or it was both of them.
Well, not to cut you off, but I know that Kagan failed a polygraph, and rumor has it that Tony passed his.
Okay. I know. But we also know that you can pass those tests too, especially if you're a sociopath or a psychopath.
Or fail them.
Yep, or fail them. And then another thing too is they tell you if you take an anti-anxiolytic, you can pass them too, because your body won't react the same way to telling lies. And so so that's another thing too, is that it doesn't necessarily mean that that if you pass a polygraph test that you're innocent, you're totally innocent. But yeah, that was what I wanted to say too. But and then the last thing is that I wonder too if maybe they do know it's Keegan. This is a little crazy theory, but because maybe they're doing this deal, saying we're going to give you an immunity since you were just an accomplice. We're totally buying the lies that you're telling us. And then they're saying, we need this evidence so that, we can bring your dad up on charges. Because one thing about immunity typically is that it comes with a caveat that you're being honest about your level of involvement. And then if you are not being honest with your level of involvement, like you weren't just an accomplice after the fact, but you were an actual perpetrator, the deal's off. So that's another thing too that I wonder, because they could do a thing like that where it's like a deal where, okay, you're an accomplice, and just you tell us where the murder weapon is, tell us where his clothes were, and then it's in that deal that if we find out that you were actually a perpetrator, the deal is off, and we can keep the evidence that we find and use it against you. And that's not, that has been done before, where police pretend that, we totally don't think it's you. We need you to help us get that other person though. We think it was them. And then they turn on you. And that's one of the reasons why they said, they'll tell you, like, always make sure you have a lawyer to go over these deals. And the lawyer may have said,
they just want to further the investigation.
Right. And then he might have the lawyer may have met with him, alone, and been like, are you sure this was your level of involvement? And he might think, oh yeah, exactly. There's nothing that I haven't told your lawyer, man. So the lawyer might have been like, oh, well, then they're going to give you a good deal.
What do you think about the whole, the Murder Sheet podcast coming forward with some information they received from an anonymous source about him being in a passenger seat of a vehicle waiting?
I think that may have been true, what the murder sheet has told us has been pretty, spot on, it seems like. The thing is that we don't know if what Keegan says was true. Was he really just like in the passenger seat? Because that just seems odd to me. Like, what was the story that like his father would have told him? Like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go commit this murder or this sexual assault, and you just stay here. And like, wait, what? Like, what was, or what did he like, or did he say, oh yeah, I need to go to this park real quick for 2 hours, an hour? You stay. Like, I just don't get what that story was. So it almost seems like he had an understanding of what was going to happen, or he was there. And maybe it was something where, they were going to get a girl and have some sort of, do something inappropriate, or, they were going to get a girl and like take her with them. But two showed up, and, no one was supposed to die. But then, they weren't cooperative, or they ran. And there was also something that was said during an interview with Kelsey and Carter, where Kelsey said that she believes that they ran where, the shoe was found. And Doug Carter said, oh, because of the disturbed earth. And she said, yeah. And so that's an interesting thing. That was an interesting sort of fact too, that like we hadn't heard anywhere else about the disturbed earth part.
Yeah, I remember that. It was kind of strange that they kind of paused at that, huh?
Right. And so, I wonder if there wasn't cooperation, and then maybe like Tony ran, and this is like going along with maybe it was both of them thing. And maybe they were just trying to, get this girl to, do what one girl to do whatever. And, they ran, and she was running towards the house. They were running, towards the, that shore where those houses are. And they were like, oh crap. And Tony runs after. Murder because he was involved in a felony.
Yep.
That resulted in the death of someone. So even in that case, he would be equally on the hook. So it could be also that possibility as well as, oh crap, like I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought, whatever was going to happen. So, and then that would make sense too of why, yeah, he helped stage crime because he was equally, in it. And that's, but he thought, well, my DNA isn't going to be on it because I didn't do the killing part. So that might be another sort of, because that would just make so much more sense than he was just sitting in a car, waiting for his dad to be like, what was the story on this? And like, why would you get involved in, knowing that your father's going to do something like that? When you can just be like, nah, I'm not going to, no, I'm going to stay home and you can go do that. That just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm not buying that. Although the murder sheet might actually have information that he said that.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make it true, but it could be a fact that he actually did say it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, because we know he isn't truthful until he's confronted with, well, this is obviously not true. And then he's like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I did a little bit more, and so, and then also I think it's odd too that he just admitted to all those like CSM charges so quickly. And then that he was the one who like didn't, it was his phone that was like missing, and, he was erasing stuff. It just seems like, why are you doing all this stuff?
What if they
if you
traded?
didn't have anything to do with it.
He said, "I'll take." He's like, "I'll take credit for all this stuff, as long as you don't tell him what I really did."
I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where, I think it was Lesenby who said something along the line of when he was questioned, do you direction presser, which would make so much sense in this case,
Mm-hmm.
where you have two people who are just the lowest of low life, and you're like, I don't know if it was one of them or two or both of them or what exactly that we have, and this presents a problem for prosecution of this case of who did it. Because we have seen OJ Simpson cases, and people walk for so much less, you know,
Mm-hmm.
with reasonable doubt.
And if he did do if he was alone and he just kind of snuck out and did it without telling anybody, he's been planning on doing it. He might be a miserable kind of like slothy seeming kind of character, but if this is about power to him, maybe this is how he goes about finding that, so he can relive it over and over, no matter how ridiculous his life ends up. He can relive that moment no matter what by taking a souvenir or a trophy. And it'd be hard for anybody to come forward if they're like, shoot, I don't even know if it's Kagan. All these people that his cousin and Tony and all these other people, maybe they don't even know. He just went out and did it all by himself.
Right. That, and then like that shot on the bridge, that could be anybody.
Yeah.
And then also, if you're close to someone, you don't want to think that like your relative or your friend or your neighbor could be capable of something like that. So like I could see the human mind just coming up with, oh, yeah, no, don't sound like that. No, it can't be him. Like the way that the stepbrother, even said it was like he like sort of like you could hear that. I don't want it to be him.
Yeah, but he's being honest.
But then he was like, yeah, it does sound like him.
I think it does.
Yeah, I think it does. But like, I could see, maybe not a whole lot of people coming forward and be like, oh yeah, that's my son. Because, you don't want to think that your son's like, okay, maybe he got these pictures, but like, no, he would never do something as horrible as that. And I think that that's a big factor to why people, don't come forward, because you have that. Yeah, no way. Yeah, it's probably someone else. Yeah.
All
Don't
right,
really
Crystal.
sound like
Well,
it.
I want to thank you for calling in. We'll probably hang out on this topic here in the chat. If anybody else wants to call in or follow up on that, we might play a couple of little news articles here and there. And Crystal, thanks for giving us a call.
All right, thanks. Bye.
All right, bye. Well, thank you, Crystal. That was a great call. Wanting to go over the Delphi murders. Looks like the prime suspect currently is somebody who's in jail and facing 30 CSAM charges. Created the Anthony Shots profile, which is connected to the deaths of Abby and Libby. So like I said, this is going to be an open format. You guys can call and we can talk about anything. It's kind of going to be like a has the world gone mad kind of theme. So I just grabbed a handful of videos I was going to show during the members meeting, but I think I'm going to do a Q&A and let that one just kind of unwind naturally as well. It seems like everybody wants to talk, focus on Delphi, and I think that's what we'll do for that. Yeah, that was a great call. Thank you, Crystal. Shout out to Houston, Texas. Good to see you, Brett. Hey, Copper. Callie. Hey, Crystal. Great call. I hope you follow up on the next one. Yeah, and I guess we can have up to 4 calls. So if you hear a call and you want to join that conversation, all you got to do is call right in and we'll add you to the conversation. All right. So like I said, everything's going to be super random. Okay. So has the world gone mad, or is it just me? What's up, Tech Death? Put him out of his misery. Yeah, can you believe what he did? I mean, how is that even possible? I mean, I know it's physically possible, obviously, but I mean, at what point does your brain even allow it? Hey, Jessica. Yeah, it's very fucked up. Nonviolent. Yeah, he's very Manson-esque. It was kind of, his beard was kind of like a wizard. It kind of like swirled around. Yeah, I agree, Susan. That poor kid. Callium says, I think the car at the CPS building may be BG's car. I also feel a few were involved. That is why I think the Jeep was on the private drive. BG is not a Klein, in my opinion. Kleins did the killings, in my opinion. Yeah, it's like there's no punishment too great for that guy. Yes, indeed. Yep. All right. This next one is actually a mean teen case here. Take a look. It's pretty recent.
They had to take their time before deciding to charge 3 juveniles as adults. They say many of the threats that led up to this even involve Snapchat.
Adult crimes being committed by children needs drastic measures, and more importantly, will be met with drastic measures.
Stern words from Macomb County Prosecutor Peter Lucido, who just charged 3 teens as adults in the fatal stabbing that took the life of 14-year-old Trent Redstrom, seen here in a GoFundMe page posted to raise funds for his funeral. 2 others were injured in the Frazier attack, including a youth who suffered a collapsed lung.
Tragic, terrible, and unnecessary. And the only way you stop it is you got to be a little more tougher about what's going on here. Otherwise, no one's learning any lessons.
3 young people, a 16-year-old boy, a 15-year-old girl, and a 16-year-old girl, all facing life felony murder along with assault and home invasion charges in the September 13th incident where sources say the teens barged into a home near Garfield and Klein with masks and knives and waged their attack. A source says one of the teens involved in the incident appears to have acted in self-defense and is not charged, but the exact motive for it all remains unknown.
Only they can tell you what this was all about, why they did what they did. What was it that drove them to a point of being involved with the most tragic crime one can commit? You know, when we all grew up back in the old days, as my kids say, you didn't see individuals stabbing each other. You didn't hear about guns being used. You know, it was your bare knuckles as a result of a fight that may have occurred. You went about your business the next day. Some days you made friendships and rekindled them. But this is terrible, what's happened here.
Detectives are digging through social media, including statements and threats allegedly made on Snapchat.
Yes, they talked about a ski mask. Yes, they talked about knives.
I'm glad that there are some charges. I'm glad that they have the students.
Janine Powers says her young cousin was friends with Trent and can't believe he's gone.
Absolutely devastated, actually. They're not doing so well, especially being, you know, their age that they are. How do you handle something like that? I mean, even an adult, you know what I mean? Like, it's not something that you expect to happen.
The prosecutor says the teen suspects are...
That's crazy. Talked about ski masks and knives. Yeah, I kind of like the idea that Y had on that other case. Like, why not snap him, right? Like, snap him in half. Jessica says, Sleuth, can you drive down the private drive from the main road? Is it open like that for anyone to drive down? Well, our good friend Bill, he went down there, filmed the whole thing. He says it's not really locked. Like, there's a chain on it, but it's not locked. So if you wanted to, you could just open it up, drive in, and shut it behind you if you really wanted to. Honda with our... It's funny that you said that, because I said that very same thing to myself the other day. Like, really? Why would you go in a red Jeep, you know? Indiana road shows. I don't know what that is. Yep. Completely desensitized, right, Miss Thing? Yeah, Crystal, I've heard that as well. Just a few markers, maybe enough to maybe not confirm, but enough not to deny, you know, like to say, hey, it's not 100% match, but there are some markers that are matching. Cash me outside. How about that? That's funny, Derek. Yeah, he was right. He was old school. He had so much gel in his hair. Looked like he was about to snap. He was ready to go get the paddle. All right, let's see what else we got here. Oh, yeah, this one's ridiculous. Okay, so I'm going to ask again. Has the world gone mad?
By a train at a Queens subway station.
Police sources are now telling CBS 2 that it all started with an argument over a cell phone. CBS 2's Kevin Rincon has the story now from Jackson Heights.
Maurice and Christine, as of right now, it's not clear if the victim fell onto the tracks or if he was pushed down. But what we do know is that riders, they're on edge after what is now the 9th person killed along the transit system this year.
For anyone to lose their life over a fight, I mean, what is that? What does that say about our society?
Baby death.
Here at this Jackson Heights subway station, there's a mix of emotions, frustration, anger, fear, after a deadly fight on a subway platform.
At this station, there's constantly issues here. There's constantly people falling on the tracks. There's no police to be found.
Police say a 48-year-old man bumped into a 50-year-old who dropped his phone onto the tracks. There was an argument over who should go and get it. That turned physical, and that's when the 48-year-old fell down. Cops say he was hit by a Jamaica-bound F train as it pulled in.
This place is getting crazy, like the whole city. We have no security anymore anywhere.
I'm shaking a little bit.
Eddie Lara has been taking the train in the city almost his entire life. He says things have changed so much so he doesn't feel safe anymore.
You're not going to take trains anymore because every time we're watching what's going on around you. Because some crazy people, they're going to push you.
Many here say subway crime is an issue that needs to be solved, not just here, but across the entire city.
There's a lot of mental illness going on right now in the subway system. You have a lot of these individuals who are depressed, they're angry, and one little, incident or one little argument can lead to a fatal push and shove.
And as we wait to find out more about what happened here, we do know the MTA has been studying this issue of people either falling onto the tracks or even jumping down. The agency earlier this year installed platform gates at 3 stations. That's a pilot program that could be expanded in the future. In Jackson Heights, Kevin Rincon, CBS.
I've been seeing this happen more and more where people are getting pushed onto the subway tracks in front of a train. That's terrifying. Like, you got to really be out of your mind to do something like that. I don't know, Bossy. I don't know how TK fits in all this. I'm really not seeing anything solid, really. I think that's New York. Yeah, New York City, pretty sure. Yeah, it's not a bad idea to get out of these violent cities, honestly. Yep, lots of people are getting pushed on the subway tracks lately. Yeah, it seems like it's in the news all the time. I don't know, Denise. I mean, I put it all out there. You know as much as I do, pretty much. That's scary, Kimmy. Did you see the report about the people dressed in green stretch outfits that abused and stole everyone's money on the subway? Yeah, I did see that. That was crazy. Wow, I wish I would have remembered that one. That one's nuts. It's like these mob attacks. They used to do like mob dances. Like, hey, out of nowhere, let's just all start dancing. Now, out of nowhere, they just start whooping your ass and robbing you. Has the world gone mad? Oh man, seriously, that's all I can think of when I'm looking at these videos. We're gonna go from big city. The little cities are full of fentanyl. Yep, bunch of meth heads. Yeah, it can be depressing, Diamonds. Oh, that's crazy. I commuted into Manhattan every day for over 18 years. I'm not a small guy and refused to go into the subway. Now it's worse than the 80s. Yeah, bro, I saw the Warriors. I know all about the boppers. Hey, Purdue, good to see you. The Green Goblin Gang. That sounds cool. You know what's weird? It's probably when they have somebody film it, and then when they replay it, they probably added some stuff to it. You know, why else were they all dressed in green? The world is mad. Okay. Now, how many of you would approach a buffalo, a wild buffalo? Press 1 if that's a yes.
No.
Derek said nope. Jessica said nope. Danita said nope. Diamond said nope. Derek said double down. Hell no. Rob says nope. And here comes Kimmy with a yep. Oh, that's funny. Let's see who else. All right, we're going to dedicate this next video to Kimmy. Miss Thang, depending on if she's had a few tequilas. Baby says, fuck no. Oh, we got somebody calling in. Hold on. Well, I don't know if you guys could hear that or not, but I did have somebody calling in. They just said, I'm a big fan. And then that was it. All right. So this is dedicated a little bit to Miss Thing. Who else we got? Little thrill seekers. Adrenaline junkies. Okay, so Kimmy. Like the actual Northern Lights, or like gonna fire some up. All right, let's take a look here.
Oh my God! Oh my
This again. No.
Oh, right in the sticker bush.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Again. No. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Again. No.
Oh, wow. Did you see that? Did you say there was no sound on that? Wow, that's strange. Yeah, I mean, that's why you don't go get close to these wild animals. Why would you do that? There it is. Play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. All right. This one's kind of funny. Now, we've all met this person. We all got this person in our family. Or we grew up with somebody like this.
Excuse me, do you know what schools I've been to and how well educated? Sorry. First of all, I was not. The only reason why I said something to you because you're loud if you're not listen. I am fighting now. Sorry. Five days.
Point blank period. We already had an issue here. I asked her to lower.
I'm sorry. Do you think I'm a little hoodlum? Like,
I'm the conductor.
Where do you think I was?
I have permission to stop the train already. And that's the end of it. So either the language stops,
the language has stopped,
or we can
but
stop
how
the
dare
train.
you think I was being profane? I'm sorry, please repeat to me the words I was being profane with.
If I hear the F-bomb dropped from your mouth, I'm
from my mouth. Excuse me, do you know how well educated I am? That
sounds
you
good.
think I was talking in a private conversation to my friend about
being
something.
that she is now becoming loud and irate, we're going to leave, or I'm going to stop the train and have her exit.
I'm sorry, please stop the train then. Please stop the train. I would prefer
we're not
that.
Entertaining this. Let's go.
No, you are entertaining.
Super Karen,
I ride this train all the time. In the morning to work and from work all the time. And on the Metro North to my parents' house in Garrison. But you claim that I touched you. Oh, I'm sorry. Now I need to be kicked off.
Don't touch me.
All right. Please kick me off. I do not. I want my money back for riding this train.
Don't put your hands on me.
She seems like she might be
Actually, I would prefer to have my money back and not get the Metro North Eddie and buy money.
Don't touch me. That's number one.
I don't need to touch you. Get away from me. Get away from me.
I was on my way walking away from you and you decided to touch me.
Please go
There.
away.
Good.
The
No,
duct
we're going
tape.
together. Let's go.
I would like my money back for riding this trip to wherever the next.
Have you ever seen I can't remember which Marvel movie it was, but they spray the Hulk with this foam and it just kind of locks him into place. Kind of looks like Gorilla Glue. Instead of duct taping these people, I wonder if they could just hit them with that foam and it just locks them right into their seat. That'd be funny.
Like my money back for riding this trip to wherever the next trip is.
Customer service. Let's go.
No, do not tell me to get customer service.
Let's go.
I'm not a crazy person. I'm a very well-educated person.
You're both. You could be both. She's like, ah, shit, what do I do now?
I'm sorry.
I need to see your manager right now. Hilarious. All right, I'm gonna try to speed this along. We're running out of time here. It's already been an hour. All right, I have a couple more here I want to go over. Smack her whole face off. That sounds rough, Miss Thing. A little violent, a little violent. I want my money back. The guy Karen is Kevin. Is that how it works? I'm a well-educated crazy person. Not just crazy. Get it right. Yeah, she was funny. Yeah, thanks, Derek. Hit that like button. That'd be much appreciated. All right. So this next one is pretty insane. It kind of reminds me of that Lost Boys scene where they're riding around on the motorcycles, chasing each other. Check this shit out.
Brand new surveillance video from the police showing ATVs and dirt bikes converging on a gas station, Delaware Avenue at Spring Garden. You know that famous gas station down there. Steve, what do you have?
Mike, this is a follow-up to our lead story yesterday morning, and if this doesn't alarm you about this problem, nothing will. 3 cops asked me yesterday, this video hopefully will really be the boot up city officials' butt to get something done other than just watching these people do what they do. And watch this video. So this is Sunday night, 8 o'clock. And there's 2 angles. There's this surveillance camera that police have there, and there's also the camera that's called a body-worn camera. And you'll see the guy on that dirt bike come up to the side of that police SUV and launch.
Have you guys ever played Grand Theft Auto online? When you kind of get into those busy areas, that's what it looks like.
A brick into the windshield. So what happened was one guy had a stolen dirt bike. He leaves it on the ground and runs. Watch the guy right there. See him throw the brick? Now they have it from that angle. Now watch in video number 2, the officer's out of the SUV. You can see him in between the pumps. He's trying to pick up that bike that we showed you yesterday. And there's the guy throwing a brick into the windshield. They're kicking the police cars. They're throwing bricks, bottles, and anything else they can grab at the police. Now, they're not making an arrest. That guy just took off, fled on foot. They're just trying to, as police put it, secure the bike that was reported stolen out of New Jersey. And they come under attack at a well-lit gas station, just trying to do their job. And these guys were as many as 500 at one point going up and down Delaware Avenue, according to the witnesses and police radio reports. But this is what's going on. So this is how we showed you that broken windshield yesterday from inside the car. And now you see how it got broken. So I know it's hard to identify people from that far away with a mask on, but the dirt bike itself, the red and white dirt bike, if it's not abandoned, and maybe, you know, somebody who was dressed like that Saturday night. But this is what police are dealing with. And this is not when they're trying to arrest these people.
All right. Okay. First of all, where are the fathers? Look, you know, this kid does not have a father. Watch how he throws.
From that far away with a mask on, but the dirt bike itself, the red and white dirt bike, if it's not abandoned, and maybe, you know, somebody who was dressed like that Saturday night. But this is what police are dealing with. And this is not when they're trying to arrest these people. That is almost the point here. They're not even arresting them. They're just trying to get that bike that was abandoned at the pumps on its side that we showed you yesterday and get it into a police car to take it away, because that gas station's open as well. And then that's what happens. They're swarmed around like a bunch of bees, as one officer said. And they had stuff flying at them from all angles, and they didn't know what to do. Unfortunately, no police officers were hurt. But how does city officials react to this? Well, the mayor say this is more, quote, social dysfunction, one officer asked, as he described the ransacking and shoplifting and fights at the Wawa stores that forced them to decide to close.
We're going to go out riding.
Or is he actually going to say, hey, this is an attack on Philadelphia police who work under him? But just something surprising to see on video. We saw that one guy on South Broad Street come under attack just because he accidentally hit somebody last year, and it was horrific to learn he had his little brother in the car, and the car was totaled, and the guy pulled a gun out, and people had to stop him from doing something with the gun. And now you see this latest video of what happened here Sunday night. So there you go. This new video, both from the surveillance camera where you see the guy throw the brick, and then from the body-worn camera. And you can say at least he threw it at a car and not at the officer, because he could have did some serious damage if that brick hit an officer in the face.
They're so outnumbered. I mean, what can you do?
Pretty sure after they saw that throw, they weren't afraid anymore. All right. Let me try to catch up on the chat. I think I have one more video to show you, and then we'll get out of here. I'm getting hungry. I can smell those tacos downstairs. They smell good. Yeah, there's no respect. That throw was ridiculous. Ugh. Cop was like, "Oh, we're not in any danger." Yeah, the guy doing donuts on that Banshee or whatever that shit was, he's pretty crazy.
Call from. Oh, hi, Sleuth. It's only.
Yep, sorry about that. I don't know if we're going to be taking any more calls. So if I just sent you to voicemail, sorry. Let me take that number off there. Very big net. Yeah, I guess you can't just go around tasing everybody and shooting mace. They confiscated a bunch of ATVs and bikes the other day in Kensington, Philadelphia during a raid. Yeah, I bet you all that shit was stolen, huh? If that was shocking, don't come to Chicago. I mean, it was shocking, but it wasn't like after seeing that guy throw the brick, it wasn't that scary. I don't know if that kid could knit. Take some finger strength. He'd get his fingers like locked in like one of those thumb traps. Get all tangled up. All right, this shit's crazy. There's no other way to explain it.
Scene on the light rail in Phoenix. Passengers found themselves trapped in a rail car with a man wielding a hammer.
Yeah, this happened Friday. This is a video that suspect attacked and robbed a Valley man. Amy Cutler's on this story live at a light rail stop. And Amy, police are still looking for the suspect in this case.
Yep, Chinese handcuffs.
That's
Put your
right,
fingers in
Greta,
them and they get
why
stuck.
this
You're like,
man,
oh,
this
shit.
victim, is speaking out. He's hoping to draw attention to what happened in the hopes
the
that
Addams
it will
family.
lead to an arrest.
Sit down! Sit down!
Cell phone
Boom.
video captures the
That's
end of
crazy.
the attack. The guy in orange, that's Nicholas Gregory. He tells me he was headed to work on the westbound light rail from Mesa into Phoenix when he saw the suspect pull out the hammer.
I saw that claw. Yeah, so I just jumped up as fast as I can. And I just took him down.
Gregory tells me the suspect brought a speaker onto the train. It was around 5:30 in the morning. The suspect exchanging words with a guy sitting near Gregory. That's when Gregory says things escalated.
But I saw that hammer. I just thought he was going to kill him.
He intervened.
The man took the hammer back again, and the claws hit me in my face. And I felt it, man. After that, I grabbed the hammer, then I just balled it up with my arm as hard as I could. And I had him for a minute, just tussling with him.
This happened Friday. Gregory says his phone and house keys
got
fell out of his
hammered.
pocket. The suspect smashed the phone and stole his keys. Phoenix police confirm the account and tell me they're
Damn, his
investigating.
phone was all
With
messed
such a
up.
violent person on the train and making the traveling public
I wanna know what
less
was
safe,
pissing this
our
guy off.
biggest key is trying to find out who this person is,
Look at him,
identify
he
them,
looks pissed.
and then bring them to justice.
Phoenix PD has a
what
public
is he
transit
wearing on his
unit,
head?
but Valley Metro, who oversees the light rail system, uses a private security company to help out.
Valley Metro tells me they're supposed to have 110 security guards patrolling the light rail. Right now, 46
that,
of those
Jacqueline?
positions
I don't remember
are
saying
vacant. That's about 42%.
In a statement, Valley Metro writes, the incident in this video is not representative of our daily light rail service. Maintaining a safe and reliable system for all fare-paying riders is our ongoing mission and focus.
A good guy with the
Gregory
hammer.
realizes just how lucky he
This
is. He
thing.
suffered only bruises to his
Yeah, that
nose
would've ended
and
that very
arm, and he was
quickly.
able to go to work that day. As for Valley Metro, they tell me they are working quickly
Yeah,
to
that's
fill those
scary
vacant
if he has his keys.
Live in Phoenix.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. Someone takes your keys. Like now you gotta go change all your locks. Like shit. All right, I'm putting the line on do not disturb, but I will open the line back up next time we jump on live. Everybody who called in, Crystal, great call. Sorry I couldn't get to everybody. I will leave more time for calls next time. This is more like a filling out process, really. And you guys can call that number if you want to leave me a voicemail. Usually it'll send me like a little text, transcribe it for me. Or a good guy with the gun. I thought that's what she meant by hammer. Yeah, but imagine how shitty that would be. You just got off of a long day of work. You're like, oh man, I got to get up and stand. Got to take this long trip home. And then here's this fucking guy swinging a hammer at you. It's like, brah, chill. Just chill, brah. Hey, Tracy, good to see you. Thanks, Derek. Always good to see you, man. Thanks for hanging out in the chat. Always cracking me up. Yep, I'm going to go eat some tacos. We'll probably hang out here in the chat for another five or so minutes. Put on some tunes. Thanks, Steve. Good to see you. Yeah, return. We're going to hang out like this more often.